Hello, friends. I am Chevy. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's fantastic. Hope everything is great for you. Everything here is really good. It's actually a decent-ish day outside. It's going to be close to 60 as opposed to... Anyway, I was talking to my supervisor today, the one who just took the test that I'm about to take. We do weekly one-on-ones, so, she wanted to talk about the test and that sort of stuff. And gave me some pointers. But the funny thing was, while talking to her, I voiced my frustrations. I voiced my apprehension about my own ability to take this test. I've never been really good at testing like this. I'm I'm great at demonstrating technical knowledge. I'm great at demonstrating expertise. I'm not great at taking a test on it, especially a standardized test that has trick questions or, four good answers, but one's better than the others. That sort of stuff trips me up. I start second guessing myself and, whatever. I've always gone with the method of your first instinct is probably correct and I just suck it up and move on. But I'm not great at it, and that's why I'm nervous. It's not necessarily that I don't think I know the material. I think I know the material fairly well. Uh, it's that I just don't test well, especially when there's a ticking clock. So we'll see. But anyway, the point is, I was reading one of the books, one of the two books. If you haven't taken this test, or if you don't know about it, it is a standardized test based on a collection of resources. I think there are a few dozen resources in this collection that the test questions have to come from. They can't just make something up out of thin air. And there are two books, the two books that the test organization put out. One is called the PMBOK, the Project Management Book of Knowledge, and the other one is called the Agile Practice Guide. Every question has to reference those two books and one other, meaning that if there's a question on the test, it's the question is covered in one of those two books plus one other reference. So reading those two books, theoretically, is what you need to do to pass the test. But again, it's more reading comprehension than it is proving technical skill, right? It's more like read this question and understand what it's saying and then give your answer. That's the part that I'm nervous about. And today, my reading comprehension is really low right now. I found myself reading and rereading because while I was trying to read, my brain was off in, thinking of something else entirely, thinking of upcoming projects that I want to work on instead of thinking about what I was doing in that moment. And so I'm telling her this, and she says that when she was studying, she had to employ one of her college techniques, which was to just listen to classical music. She put on like Mozart or Beethoven and listened to some classical music while studying, and that allowed her to, get through technical material or, dry reading material faster. And I was like, duh. Like, I literally purchased a brown noise generator on my phone years ago, and I have used it in the past, and I completely forgot about it. I completely forgot. It works really well for me. If you don't know, brown noise is kind of like white noise, but it supposedly is in a more of a natural range, so that it sounds almost like a crowd murmur if you stop focusing on the static and it's just like a more natural tone. And it really does work. I bought it years ago so that I could focus like on plane rides and stuff. Focus while trying to do an activity like writing in a busy place or reading in a busy place, especially reading. And I completely forgot about it. I've been struggling through this reading material with my brain going crazy, and I completely forgot to just turn on the brown noise. But, I think it's one of those things that like any skill, reading comprehension is a skill, or being able to focus is a skill, and I'm not good at it. I'm not good at it, except for in the rare occasion where it's something that I really want to do. And right now, the funny thing is, my brain is thinking about this upcoming company that I'm forming, the software that I'm taking back. My brain is thinking about that software and how I want to implement some changes. My brain is also thinking about bringing back the I called it Pepahana at the time. It was basically a status report tool where in my job I have to submit weekly reports. This is what I did this week. It was a tool to help me generate that report without having to think about it, but also as a freelance person, it was a tool to help me track hours working on freelance projects. And I think I'm going to revamp that code and bring it back to help me in my upcoming business venture. Because I think what I'm going to do with my business venture is include X number of hours of my time for feature requests. So you're going to pay this much for the software per year, and with that comes X amount of hours. If you want additional features or if you have additional requirements, then you'll get billed hourly. And so I need to be able to keep track of all that stuff. I think I'm going to bring my software back for that, and I'm going to revamp it and redesign it. But I think it'll be a good foundation at least. So my brain's been thinking about that. Instead of thinking about what I'm reading or what's right in front of me, I've been thinking about that. And a good way to turn that off is the brown noise generator. And I completely forgot about it until she mentioned something, and I was like, "Oh, I'm an idiot." Like that's a skill I know a tool, I should say, in my toolkit that I know can help me with my reading comprehension, and I completely forgot to use it. So I'm going to go put headphones on. I'm going to finish reading that book, and then I'm going to start taking practice exams every day until the test. We'll see what happens. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends, wonderful people. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is lumpenproletariat, a noun meaning term used by Karl Marx to describe uneducated common people. It is difficult to pretend to be a member of the lumpenproletariat when your car costs more than your next door neighbor's house. Lumpenproletariat, Lumpenproletariat. I can't even begin to piece together the word origins for that, especially since we just talked about luminary yesterday being a leader. Lumpen, I don't understand how. That's a weird one there, Carl.